Why would Nike be leaving this apparently booming industry? To me, something's going on here. I can't put my finger on it, but boom. Nike and Tiger Woods have parted ways. The slogan has gone from just do it to just did it. I've got my boy Jake Span Golf on, and we're going to give you the hot take of what's going down. What's crazy to me is I want you to listen to these figures. First of all, the supposition is that golf is one of the most popular recreational sports in America. Both on-course golf and off-course golf rank in the top 10 in participation. Number one is bicycling at 43.5 million. Bowling is at 42.3 million. Now we've got on-course golf, 25.7 million. And interestingly, saltwater fishing weighs in at 14.3 million. If golf is truly booming, like these stats provide, why would Nike want to get out of this business?
Nike wanted to get out of this business. Originally, their conversation point was they wanted to get out of it because their actual club manufacturing and ball manufacturing was hemorrhaging money every single year. And I really did think that they were just going to get out of the actual club manufacturing market originally when they stopped making the clubs, stopped making the balls, but stay in the fashion world of it because everyone knew Tiger's fashion and they had great players on the list. And they added some good players, especially during the last few years. If you look at their roster last year versus this year, it's vastly different. You had Tiger Woods with the TW signature line. You had, of course, Jason Day. You had Tommy Fleetwood. You had Scotty Scheffler that you picked up, I think, in 2022. Matty Wolff, who was a rising star that didn't really pan out, but you win some, you lose some. That's why it's called gambling whenever it comes to these investments. And then, of course, you had Big Chicken Brooks Koepka. So you got six guys that represent your brand pretty well as far as your fashion sense, as far as your clothing options. And it's strange to see Nike pulling out. To me, this is the closest thing that I think we'll ever see to Nike stop making Air Jordan brand.
Well, that's an interesting point because to me, isn't it interesting that Michael Jordan, a basketball player, his brand is thriving on the golf course. Yeah. And then you actually have Tiger Woods, arguably the number one golfer of all time, maybe top two. It's either him or Jack Nicklaus, depending on which side of that fence you want to get on. But he can't even pull in people to buy his brand. Was that more of a Nike design fault, or is that the Tiger image and legacy?
I think it's just the fact that people forget. And I mean, our generation understands, but the generation before us, Generation X, 100% understands. Michael Jordan is fucking cool. All right? That's just the reality of the situation. His brand, the Air Jordan brand, is cool. There are 2 documentaries out solely on his shoe manufacturing line. There's a movie with Matt Damon out there and Ben Affleck about his shoes. And I want to still watch it. But the point is that Michael Jordan is cool. And not only that, in the last few years, we've seen golf style evolve quite a bit. And it's almost like ever since Tiger Woods wore the mock neck on Sunday to win the Masters in 2019, we've seen kind of the strings get loosed on golf fashion to go to a more casual place. We've seen shorts get introduced in the DP World Tour and Live Golf. We've seen shorts get introduced for practice rounds on the PGA Tour. We've seen non-golf shoes all of a sudden become golf shoes. And a lot of these players aren't even wearing spikes anymore. When you see Pat Perez, Taylor Gooch, Harold Varner III out there hitting golf balls, most of the times they are just wearing basic Jordans without even spikes in the soles.
I actually did a video on this with Tony Finau. I followed him at one of the events in Vegas. And the big reveal in the video is, what kind of golf shoes is Tony Finau wearing? And he's not wearing any. I zoom in on the sole of his shoe, and he's just wearing Jordans walking around the course.
Yeah, and so many of these guys, that's what they're doing. They're wearing basic Jordans now. And that's not a hate on Jordans. I love the Jordan brand. I love the look. It's iconic. I had a pair for a long time. I've never been a shoe collector. It's just not my thing because it's like your shoes are designed to get dirty. But I know guys who are just all about that. And you're absolutely right. We're seeing more and more players not actually wear golf shoes to where it's almost like the tour world or the pro golf world is dividing in these 2 camps. We have the Justin Thomas camp, which is like the traditional camp, and I think we're going to see it splinter and fracture even more to where it's going to get more obvious over the coming years. Where we're going to see the Spieths, the JTs becoming more and more visibly distinct from the new waves, the guys who grew up with, who want to be like Mike. Nobody wants to be like Tiger, by the way. They want to be like Mike.
Well, that's interesting on in terms of you not being a shoe guy. I want to let everyone know at home. If you are a shoe collector and you leave your shoes in a box, they actually deteriorate faster.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
It's a
Again,
little fun fact.
not a shoe guy. Just not a shoe guy.
I
Never have
watched a video on it. I was shocked. It's counterintuitive, but you actually have to get them out of the box in the air. Otherwise, after a certain time, the soles just crumble. On a side note, I've been taking a lot of grief for my hair. This morning, I just got accused of wearing a wig.
Oh my God, it's a wig.
So I'm going to put this out there, folks. If between now and Live Vegas, I get 5 t-shirts purchased on www.bigboypantsgolf.com, I'm going to turn this wig into a mullet. Now that so many shoes have gone spikeless, you're almost like, well, why not go the extra 2% and just wear regular shoes? Where's the whole spike industry just a scam on a certain level then?
I'm starting to wonder that myself. And the reason why I say that is because, a lot of these, the reason why you used to wear spikes and why you wore spikes, so that way you don't slip. Now, granted, they've changed the rules so much in the last 15, 20 years to where players aren't having to play in as many hazardous lies. Players are getting so much more relief now versus what they did 20 years ago, to where a lot of these players really aren't having to play in as many muddy lies as they were before.
These players are swinging faster than ever. You'd think you'd want more stick it to the ground more than ever. But a lot of them are going to the spikeless despite 125 mile per hour club head speeds. Yeah. So you got on that level, it's a little bit counterintuitive. But even more interestingly is how much should you be locked into the ground? Because I've seen Phil Mickelson videos explaining that stress on your forward knee, where you actually don't want to lock it out in the old school ways because you're going to twist your leg. That's why you see these guys with their forward legs almost springing to the laterally behind them. Why would Nike be leaving this apparently booming industry? To me, it's the canary in the coal mine. This is the movie's Volcano. It's a disaster movie. There's an asteroid coming for the planet because it doesn't really line up if you have like among the biggest sporting brands, if not the biggest, leaving what is apparently touted as a booming industry. And they already have an athlete like Michael Jordan, who's not even a golfer who can make inroads into that industry. Something's going on here. I can't put my finger on it, but do you think in the next few years, other advertisers, other sportswear manufacturers realize, hey, these pro golfers can't get the job done in terms of advertising, and this is much akin, and that's spelled AKIN, to how we don't use models as much anymore. You can get a 2-for-1 deal by using an actor to represent your brand. So why not go to a big name like, is Serena Williams going to start jumping in terms of the golf fashion brands and take out some of these guys? Or because the actual golfers themselves, they don't have the staying power in terms of their name. Tiger Woods couldn't pull it off. He couldn't push sales.
I think we're seeing that exactly right. If you look at actual sports athletes currently in the world who have like the staying power, the name power, Tiger Woods, we love his golf game. His golf game is romantic. And I mean that in like the epic, episodic, brings up the feels, makes you want to watch kind of mode. But he's never been the spokesperson. Remember seeing the Stealth 2 commercials that he was doing last year, where it's like really awkward, like really simplistic. He couldn't carry the commercial, and he can't carry a commercial. He's never been able to carry a commercial. If he opens his mouth, the commercial's over. And that's Tag Heuer understood that, by the way. When they used to do the commercials where he's hitting golf balls into Fenway Park, they understood, don't let him open his mouth. But the thing is, you're right. If you watch the Century Tournament of Champions, guess who's advertising Callaway's new gold chrome standard golf ball?
I think you want to do is exactly what you're pointing out. You want to leverage off bigger brands, bigger legacies, and not just focus on these golf guys who got 3 tournaments, because You want these kind of golf outsiders to actually bring their following into golf, and their following is much bigger than any of the golfers, own organic followings.
I think a lot of it also is that golfers we're incredibly focused, driven individuals that can sometimes come off very dry and not have exactly the best personality in the world. And I think golf brands are realizing that. When you got Travis Matthew, who spends more money getting Chris Pratt to promote their stuff than they do any PGA Tour pro. When you've got Michael Jordan, who is still holding up the Nike brand and having more players on tour wearing his line of clothing that's made for basketball and leisure wear than Tiger Woods' golf brand. We're seeing the collapse right there.
The asteroid is hitting the planet. I'm expecting Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson to be pitching golf brands soon, because they're going to get more value out of those guys than Chris Kirk.
I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if we see Cat Williams popping up and being on a TaylorMade commercial. Every single golf brand's big acquisition to their roster is not a new player. It's a social media component brand. Look at Bridgestone. Who did they add last year? They added St. Andre. Who did Callaway add last year? They added Brian Bros officially, and they added Good officially, and then they added Bob Does Sports officially. The brands aren't chasing the pros anymore. They're chasing the TikTokers, YouTubers, people that are going to have the everyday follower watching them religiously every single week.
You could say they're pursuing the personality.
I think so, because it takes a personality to make a social media game work. And now some pros have amazing personalities. Most of them are on Live now. Sorry. Or at least Live allows them to activate their personality. Maybe that's what it is. But we see that so many golfers, their game is the only thing that shines and not their personality. And maybe that's why we're seeing the golf brands, despite golf as a game growing, not seeing the desire to put their investment into the golfer itself.